Okay, here it is. This is what I've got to say to everyone. Everyone in the Western world, in the crazy, crazy countries. I've got a lot to say, and I'm going to do it. Right? It's all to do with the New World Order. Right? They're all working together. Don't be scaremongered that we're under threat or we're under danger from China. We're absolutely not. Well, that's why it made me laugh when Starmer has gone to China. Right? I've always said this for many, many years. We're jealous of China. Absolutely jealous. And of course, China now has got a few cities where there's no cash, right? You can't even hang about. You can't even just chat and have a little drink sat on the wall or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Before some camera's going to pick you up, time how long you're there, and question why you've been sat there for so long. It's damn right ridiculous, right? But how you all are helping it, right? And another thing, so I might talk a little bit of riddles, but that's what a big picture's like. There's lots of pieces of the jigsaw. However, doesn't mean to say I'm here just to rant about it. I'm here with answers, right? Which I don't see a lot of people having, is answers, right? So how many of you do all your shopping online, including your shopping, right? Which means you obviously go to just one supermarket, Sainsbury's or whatever, get all your shopping delivered. Why do you do all that? What you can do is you can have a go at me and go, well, we haven't got the time. It's convenience. Well, get your time back, right? Because that's what they're taking away from you. How they're taking it away from you is they're expecting more. So because they can't change the clock or introduce an 8-day, even though there actually was an 8-day calendar, if you want to look up history, right? But they didn't like that. Like they don't like nines. The magic number is actually 3. Right, I can explain that, but we'll leave that for now, right? But 3 is definitely always been my magic number, and now I realise how it's the magic number in the world. All right, so let's just go back to how they're restricting your time, and how they're doing it is by making everything simpler, convenient. So you love convenience, so you go for the convenience. Now you've got to squash more in your day. Right, you've got to get a lot more in, get everything delivered. Right, so where where I'm going with that, right, is to do with this thing with Sainsbury's and AI, and the China cities where they pay with their palm, right, and they get credits. If they're doing really well, they get credits on the system. Might even give them a little token back. Do you really, you love that, do you? Well, you're mad if you do, right? What you need to do is use cash more. And that's how you could teach your kids, right, how to control their money. So I'll give my mum a credit due, right? She always said when I put up my first paper round, right, make sure your outgoings are never more than your incomings. Right, well, if you're always using plastic, you don't really know, because you're not keeping an eye on at all, right, everything you've spent and all your bills, and realising what bills are coming up next before your next wage, blah, 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 right? Just goes on and on and on. Right, whereas if you got paid on a Friday, you walked into the, used to be able to walk in the bank. You might even get the bank staff to come back if we do this. Anyway, right, there's cash point machines everywhere. Don't be gaslit with the fact that cash point machines are getting ripped off. It's quite easy to check if the cash machine, right, isn't tampered with. That's very easy. And I have never, ever actually been scammed on a cash point. All right, I'm 60. So anyway, you put your card in, right? Your son's wages was 250 quid. You tell him to draw out 220. All right, you don't have to do it that way. You could do it in 2 blocks of 110 or something. All right, but if you're good with money, you can put your card in, draw out 220. Right, this is your son. Right, so he leaves 30 in there. Hopefully you won't need that 30, which means that now goes on to next week's. That's what you call savings, right? Something no one can do. I can, most people can't, right? Anyway, so now he's got 220 quid, and he's got it physically in his hand, right? So as soon as he spends 40 of it, he sees that get smaller, and he's not going to like that because it's got smaller, right? But that's the way it goes, because you have to buy things, right? But what he does know, or she, right, don't want to get done for being sexual, racist or anything like that. You know what I mean? I love everyone, don't matter what kind of race, whatever, all right? So let's not go down that line, all right? So he knows he's got 220 quid to last until his next wage. End of story. Simple as that. Right, now let's go to shopping online. You're all walking through the high streets, right? Mostly small towns and places like that, right? And here's some big towns and some cities. Probably not so much London, is it? It's areas of London, right? But then you've got areas where all the money is. Anyway, my point is, right, you can't keep walking around going, oh, crikey, all the shops are closed, when you're not buying from them. You're buying online, right? I don't buy anything online. I bought 2 things off Amazon about 7-8 years ago, right? And it wasn't what I was expecting. Obviously, 7-8 years ago, Amazon made it really awkward to return something, right? So I didn't return them. Just 2 cameras, still got them, right? Probably never use them. Waste of money, wasn't it? Okay, now if I'd gone down to the shop and bought them, right, got home, went, oh, it's not the right one, or it's something wrong with it, I'd take it back. If I paid with it, right, if I paid for it with cash, I'm entitled by law to have my cash back straight away. Right, so I'm covering a lot of things here. Right, so also to save jobs. So Sainsbury's got 14 tills in it, right? And then you've got the self-serve. So I've already done a little 3-minute clip to do with this, right? So I've proven that I can pay for anything with cash faster than any one of you with your card, right? Or just as fast, let's say equal. You know, if you want to do that tap thing, that's up to you, but that's dodgy, isn't it? Because then you lose your card, right? And then someone else can just go around quickly tapping. Fair enough, bank give you the money back maybe, right? But you got to go for a battle, which brings you to another story where I'm on about, where your freedom of speech is being taken away. It's not in the street, right? It's very easy. Gaslighting is coming up, right? It's more people now are starting to realise what gaslighting is and how many different ways you can be gaslit, right? So I don't want to lose the plot where I'm on about that. Right, so Sainsbury's has all those tills, right? I like to go to a till. I take my shopping out of the trolley. I stick it on there, right? The woman does all the scanning for me. It's great. I got time to sit, do something on the phone, make a phone call, right? Or talk to the woman or the gentleman who's serving me. He's even nicer, isn't it? That's what I do. How are you? You all right? Yeah. Talk about, oh, I love it here. Oh, I noticed the price has gone up on that. You know, have a conversation. And you just put it in your bag and you go. Right, that's it. No checking nothing. Right, like I say, you go and buy a dress, pair of jeans, or whatever in a shop, get home, don't fit, take it back. What are you going to say? You haven't got the time for that? Come on, you got a Saturday. Most shops are open on Sunday. Right, so you get my point. Right, you need to use cash. It will hopefully save jobs, right? Save small businesses. It's incredible. I could talk about the farmers as well. Solar panels. Right, how you're being gaslit is whenever they talk about a solar farm on telly, they'll always say this. They'll always say to you, right, if we put that solar farm up, that's enough to serve 2,500 houses. I'm telling you now, your bills still go up. So obviously you're not getting the benefit from the solar farm, which used to grow food, right, to your house. It's not about that. It's about their servers. It's about needing more servers. And obviously, technology is electrical. So it uses more power. It uses heaps of power. Absolutely heaps. You want to walk into a server one day, you know, go and find where a server place is. And walk in it and see how many hundreds or whatever computers are down there. Tapping away, you know what I mean? Working away with all your information going through them. It's ridiculous. It really is. I haven't even got a computer. I don't want one. I haven't even got broadband, right? I haven't even got Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of that. So what? So what? What does that mean? I haven't got a good life? No. What it means is you're a load of idiots, right? And you're spending all your money online and then walking through the town centre going, oh, the shops are all closed. Where's all the shops gone? Come on. What is it? Demise your own downfall or whatever. You know, it's crazy. Right, so what else was it I was going to talk about? Let me just pause it because there was something else very important. Okay, that was it. Freedom of speech. I want to talk about freedom of speech, right? Well, you've got to keep your eye not on just the ball, right? You've got to have provision. I can never say the word, but provision, like vision, be able to see around you, eyes in the back of your head. That's what you need. So you can see the ball in front of you, right? But your vision around here sees everything else going on, all right? We've been getting gaslit for God knows how many centuries. It's been leading to this for a long time. Do you know what I mean? Even the start of the Visa card or your bank card. You go back as far as that. That was what was, changing cash. Right? But I'm not saying don't have a card. I'm saying put the card in the wall and draw cash out. Right? Live like that. So what else I wanted to say about was freedom of speech. Right? I'll tell you exactly where freedom of speech. I'm suffering it. I'm suffering it left, right and centre. Trust me. You wouldn't believe what's happened to me since I was unlawfully arrested and maliciously prosecuted. Right, so obviously I've had to make complaints. I'm now being gaslit and even ostracised by every single organisation, including the Citizens Advice Bureau, right, making out stories that my behaviour to do with my behaviour. It's not. Right, it's absolutely not. Nothing to do. There's nothing wrong with my behaviour. Right, what it's about is them protecting the guilty people that are guilty for unlawfully arresting me. Right, even chief inspectors. I can't tell you all about it, obviously, because it's still going on. But I've been ostracised. Right, Swan Advocacy. Yeah, that's an advocacy. So you might get, because obviously this is happening to me through every organisation, authority, support system in my county. Every single one of them, trust me. So where your freedom of speech is being taken away is in your complaints departments, right? Go online. See how many jobs there is if you want to go into the complaints industry. Hundreds. Absolutely hundreds. When you ring them up, right, what you'll find is you might have to wait on the phone for an hour and 3/4. HM Courts did that for me, or to me, for a couple of months. And then as soon as they'd answer the call, right, I'd say, excuse me, please don't put the phone down on me. Do you mind if I record my call? They'd put the phone down on me. After an hour and 3/4 of waiting. Right, then I'd ring back. And it could happen again, put the phone down on me. Right, one person, you might be lucky and say, yeah, I don't mind you recording. Another one say, no, I don't want you recording. So I'd stop. I wouldn't record. If they don't allow me, I wouldn't record. Right? This is where your voice is being taken away. And they're replacing complaints department. Right? So literally, you'll have to wait that long. Then there's a good chance, I'm sorry about this, I'm not racist whatsoever. But if you're English, right, and you're talking to someone with a really heavy accent, I'm deaf in one ear, right, so I struggle to understand them, especially if they talk fast. And I'm polite, and I actually say, do you mind if there's possible, can I speak to someone English? Because I'm struggling to understand you. Please don't take offence to that. Right, I'm just being honest. Okay, so they might put the phone down on you there, right? And of course, where they'll gaslight people like me is go, oh, he's a moaner. He's just always moaning. No, he's got very serious complaints. Right? I've even had my mail, right? I've written official complaints to Royal Mail that my mail recorded deliveries with my personal details in from solicitors, right? Because obviously I'm trying to do something about what happened to me. So my mail gets left outside my door. This is in 2021, right up to now. Well, not right now, because I don't pick my mail up, and they've refused to deliver it now, twice. Right after I wrote official complaint, said my mail's been intercepted, fully opened, left outside my door, and my signature forged. Right? And I've got the evidence, because I've gone on the Royal Mail website and got the pictures of my forged signature. What more do you need? It's crazy, man, right? Right, and obviously, when my mail, I go outside and see my mail leaned up against my front door in view of all the public, right? I take a photo of it. Yeah, of course I do. Right, which has got really tricky, but luckily I then took screenshots of other screenshots, right? Because I've even had my phone intercepted, and it's actually called a TEI warrant, right? So they're messing with my communication devices. Right, and obviously, if I was unlawfully arrested and maliciously prosecuted, doesn't that mean that the Crown Courts allowed a malicious prosecution before them? So now you get the seriousness of it without me talking about that. Right, let me go back to, this is where your voice has been taken away. We can all stand in the street, we've seen it, especially that, I won't say his full name, but it begins with Charlie. right, up in Manchester. How he would talk to people and things he would say was just, I couldn't believe it. Right? I go out with smiles on my face, interact with public, I'm easy, very approachable, can have a conversation. I've had people say, I can't believe, what I've just told you, and I feel like I could trust you with my life and things like that. Right? I've honestly had some lovely things said to me over my life, right? Because I'm an open book. And if you want to talk, I listen, right? You won't see me stand there going, oh, I wish they'd hurry up, right? No, I listen to everything you've got to say, whoever you are. Right? I love talking to people, but I hardly go out now because I've been ostracised, right, and mistreated and abused by just about it's not even just about, it's every system in my county, right? Every system, every authority, organisation, you know the motive, obviously, right? Even the Citizens Advice Bureau and an advocacy, check this out, right? That were meant to be helping me. I sent them my passport, a picture of my passport and my birth certificate, said do a subject access request to the police force for me, please, to get my call that I'd made on the 28th of September 2021. Guess what? They did the subject access request on my behalf, but they didn't share it with me, right? And I was getting fed up with knowing how they're manipulating me, keeping me contained, right? Trying to play with times, right? Timelines, so that nothing could happen, right? Then I did a subject access to that advocacy. Guess what? The police documents that I got, that they'd received, actually said I was arrested on a certain day, which is an absolute lie. I wasn't arrested till 6 weeks later, right? It's to do with all of that. So anyway, that's where your voices are being taken away in complaints department, right? They employ, because obviously, think about this, right? I mean, it doesn't sound good, but put it this way. You've got your own business, right? And it's quite big. You have to have a complaints department. Well, you're not going to like that, are you? Because you're paying wages for people to deal with complaints against your business. So just think about it like that. You're going to want to squash that as much as you can, as soon as you can, right? So what you do is you employ people on the lowest wage, right? You give them the lowest wage. So more than likely, they're going to be people that have moved to the country, right? Not educated to a certain extent, possibly, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even care, if they don't know how to do the job, right? Because that's going to help the business owner mess your complaint up. That's exactly where your voice is being taken away. Right? I was watching AB Audits today, and he went to the TikTok building. Well, it was amazing how clever the security guards were in there. Do you know what I mean? That was quite interesting. You want to watch that, right? Of course, they wouldn't even let him go to the desk, to the counter, to the reception, right? And if you listen carefully, right, what they do is they were saying about having to arrange it. Then they changed it to if you've been invited, right? So I've actually put a comment on AB's, and I've said, AB, try and book an appointment, because he's having his TikTok stuff messed around. So I've said, try and book an appointment, right? See how that goes. Because there's a chance that they won't book in the appointment. That's why the security guard changed his wording to if you've been invited. Well, you shouldn't have to be invited. You should be allowed to book an appointment to see a human to discuss the issue. That's obviously genuine. Right, so they're trying to take your freedom of speech away through the complaints, through not being able to enter a building, right, without an appointment, that when you try to make the appointment, you probably won't get the appointment. I've done it, right? All of them. Citizens Advice Bureau, a few others. So going back to Citizens Advice Bureau, right? Sorry, I will say about this. So I asked them to write to the police, right, to get the record of that call that I'd made and my claim of unlawful arrest, malicious prosecution, what have you, right? Obviously, I had to send them passport, this, that, and the other. Citizens Advice Bureau, right? And I said, share me. They didn't share me. They tried to hide it all from me. Right? Then I got the response that they got from the police. Completely different complaint. Completely different reference number. Nothing to do with what they asked. Right? So the next time I go to our town hall, right, where you're allowed, yeah, and in the public area, I got my camera, my phone, right? It's pointing at the ceiling. It's not pointing at anyone, right? I'm talking to it. I'm just recording myself. Woman comes out, Right? I said, do you mind if I just record? It's only for the voice. I won't point it at you and that. Do you know what I mean? But for my safety, okay, I'd like to be able to record the interaction. That's it. Next thing, I get a letter through the post. Not an email, by the way. Right? A letter posted telling me I'm now no longer allowed to write to them. No, not by email, not by post, and I'm not allowed to have a face-to-face. Well, it goes back to the same motive every time, right? Because they don't want to support me, right, to do with holding the people for responsible for really, really serious crimes that even someone in the, how do I say it? Oh, crikey, do I even say it? Who's just been arrested lately, right? Let's just use the word baton and a mount and baton, right? For what? Perverting the course of justice. Right, so that's where your voice is being taken away. So I did say I come up with ideas, right? So, and suggestions. So I don't just come on here to moan, right? I'm not moaning. I'm stating facts and I'm trying to help you. So I've made the point about cash, and if you all use cash as much as possible. I've made the point of stop yourself from shopping online, right? Admittedly, you might have to, but if you can, don't, right? Don't do it. That's where your world's changed. And absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, guys, yes, COVID was put out there, right? Forget the fact that we're all at risk for in each other's countries. We're not. Because how can you have that and a new world order? You get me? Right? The new world order is those countries working together. That's why Starmer's gone to China, so that he can now use their ideas, right? And that's also why, even in the Amazon, right, you used to have people in tribes, right? They've only got like some leaves covering their private bits, right? They've never seen money, didn't do money, right? They do exchanges and things like that. Look at them now. They've got a mobile phone and a solar panel. Well, that's because, right, the bigwigs, the fat cats, the tech giants and all that, and our governments all want to get rid of cash, right? So they've got total control of you. Well, obviously the way to fight it is to use cash, innit? You get on a bus, right? If I go to the City of Bath, if I use cash, right, and the bus driver ain't got change, he's got to give me a ticket, right? So I've then got to get the cash off another bus driver away. It's a bit of a pain. But guess what? I'll do it, right? Because that's what needs to be done. And the more you do it, and everyone does it, you're going to save yourselves. Trust me. And also you're going to have privacy, right? You get bombarded on your phones. Buy this, buy that. A mate of mine a little while ago was on about, he said it a few times. Well, he was a friend. He's done something really horrible to me now. But anyway, right? That, put that to one side, that hurts. Where was I going with it? Right, so you get bombarded with, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Because you brought something. You brought something, a kitchen item. Right, next thing they're bombarding you with, how about this? And how about that item? And that item? And this food product? And this, that and the other. Well, if you went and bought something with cash, you're not going to get all that crap. Right, which gets your eyes looking at it all again. So, hopefully, you're understanding where I'm coming from, because I know it's right. And I know what I'm saying will work. Right, you might even find that high street banks is another thing to do with, right, so in my town, I talk to a couple of people in these charity shops, right? And I say, so what's it like now the banks have closed down, you know? So if we come in your shops, we buy cash. And I couldn't believe it. They said, now we've got to pay for someone to come and pick the cash up, to go and take to a major bank or whatever, to do our cash in. Well, that's terrible. So, right, however, they can't not take cash because they'll lose business. So there's one of your keys as well, right? Anyone who isn't going to take your cash is going to lose your business. Think about that. Okay, so maybe the banks will have to reopen, who obviously are also loving it, because you used to be able to walk in a bank and they might have, let's just not overdo it, right? Let's say they got 5 tiller places, right? Slowly what you've found is only one of those is open, right? Not all 5, because all 5 ain't needed, because none of yous are using cash, cashing in, taking your cash into the bank, do you know what I mean? And interacting. Right, so, and that's another, that's the bit thing I love as well, is obviously more jobs and interactions between us all. So I think I'm going to pause it here, guys. I think maybe I've said enough for now. Okay, actually, I want to give my point of view because I feel for the farmers. All right, my opinion is they don't care, right? Because what they want is that land. Right, they want that land to make them money and as much as possible. Right, they'd be happy just to keep importing food. Right, and if they import food, I'm very good at putting, because all these pieces of the jigsaw, right, all interlock with each other. All of them. It's loads of them. Right? It's like a massive round jigsaw puzzle. Right? They all interlink, and they go through as well to go to the other sides. So you've got a ball of all these pieces, right, that go through like veins and everything. Right? So if they could buy your farm, stick some houses on it, stick a few businesses on it, get an income monthly off of that, right? That's what they'd rather do. If they import the imported food means they've got control of it, because it's all about total control, isn't it? New World Order, total control. Right? So as far as I'm concerned, COVID was brought out on purpose, right? Because the New World Order all worked together and went, right, we need to keep everyone in their own countries, keep them in their houses, slow everything down. We're going to have to pay for this. It's going to cost us trillions and trillions of pounds, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. Right? So they invested in paying people's wages, supporting small businesses that couldn't open. Right? They loved it, because what they were doing is stopping transactions by hand, interactions and transactions. Right? So they had control of all interactions and transactions. So they closed your interactions down, stuck you at home, right, where all you could use was your computer. Does it not make sense? Right? So you had to order everything. So hey ho, they got a lot of answers from that. Obviously, one of the biggest answers was, we can keep the world ticking over, right, and get all the money, right? Because you can't now go down to your local chip shop while COVID's on and what have you, right? And you can't hand money. They can even gaslight and go, yeah, but you might be infected on that money. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. That's how your antibodies work, right? Is interactions, picking up these little codes, and your antibodies go, right, we need to work on that. So they took all that away. Well, in the background, they were tapping away and working everything out for the end when COVID ended, right? So that's when it was all being worked out to be implemented. Another thing to do with technology. So that's my thing about COVID, all right? I've said that now. That's what it was about. It was about them closing the world down. Obviously, you haven't been able to go and put fuel in your car and do this, that, and the other, or go anywhere. I gave them the time to sit back, stop the world going, work it all out. Right, so why do you think we've got so many people wanting to come to England? Okay, it's not just the benefit system, it's what they can get, right? It's like, if you watch lots of bloggers that were going around the world and visiting small, very poor places in third world countries, right? One of the common denominators was they talk to people, and those people would say, I've lived a hard life and I don't want that for my children. Right, so give them a phone, right? And now they can see Ferraris and bigger houses and houses with swimming pools and people wearing lovely clothes. And they're going to want it. Who wouldn't? They're going to go, I want that. I want that. So the parents do what they can to get the children, or at least one of the children. And if you think about it, if you've got 2 daughters and 1 son, right? Who's meant to be the hardest, the one to cope with it? It's going to be the son. So that's who you'd send to whatever country to try and make a life, to then hopefully bring the rest of the family over. It's as simple as that. That's how it worked. That's why everyone, even in the Amazon, that wears like banana things around, you know, like hide their privates or some big dot leaf or whatever, right? That's what it's all about. Give them a phone, right? Entice them. Yeah, so now they're going to go, do you know what? I'll pay whatever it takes, right? To get my son over to one of those countries. We need a better life. So all third world countries or people in countries in poverty and what have you, off they went. That's why you've got it. That's what's going on. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. I love you all. I just want the best for the planet and for you. I've got no children, by the way, right? I want the best for your children. I want the best for Mother Earth. I really do, which they're destroying. Because I'll tell you now, right? I even watched the documentary today. The core of Mother Earth is the same temperature as the sun. So what do you think has kept that temperature from reaching out to the rest of the crust that we live on? Oil, underground streams and rivers, right? Probably certain minerals as well, actually, to do with coolants. Hello, what have they been taking? They've been taking the planet's coolants. That's why your planet's heating up. Our planet, Mother Earth, who I love, right? That's our first mother. Right? We're born from a mother. Mother Earth gave birth to everything. God touches me. I love you all. Take care.